come up to the upper Stour, swim I fished a few times on my videos. Along this stretch, 36 years ago, believe it or not, pretty much the same date, I think it was the 24th of June 1989. It's the 27th of June today, 2025. Fished a match, fishing for Wareham against Dorchester, and I hadn't long got this pole. It's a Browning Pro Spiral, the old green one. I don't know if you can, don't suppose you can see that. Only goes to 11 metres, and it was a team match. I was fishing for Wareham against Dorchester, and it was hard going. The river today is quite clear. There's not much flow. There's a bit of a skim downstream, but the pole gives you fantastic presentation on a river like this. And I've got some of the sort of floats I used back then, like this. This is a body up Dick Clegg 0.75 of a gram. I've got one or two others here. The old Milo Papyrus bodied float, which takes about 1¼ grams. All set up with olivettes, quite a long line, long lash as they say nowadays. And the pole gives you that fantastic presentation and control and sensitivity, because you've only got a very fine tip on the pole floats, which are about 3 centimetres long, just over an inch, and they're probably 1 and a bit millimetres in diameter. I've got some more here. I haven't picked out which one I'm going to put on. I'm going to fish much as I did back then, trickling a few maggots in. They're mixed maggots. Back then I used bronze, put a little bit of turmeric on them, and the end tackle is going to be a size 22 fine wire hook. And the rig's very simple. It's basically a tungsten olivette with number 10 strung out below over sort of 2.5, 3 foot below. Very, very delicate presentation. And going back to that match all those years ago, most anglers were still fishing conventional floats like these sticks, and I probably could fish a stick float here. It wouldn't be easy with this skim on it. Waggler wouldn't be much better. And the two Dorchester anglers either side of me are very experienced anglers, but not at that time, not brilliant match anglers. Struggled. I was catching roach, I had a couple of perch, 1 or 2 little chublets and dace, which is much what I'd hoped for today. I don't know whether I'll get that or not. And I ended up with £2.11, which is never won the match or anything like that. I was well up though, in the top half of the match. Can't remember what won it. And those two anglers either side of me, 1/4 gudgeon and the other blanked. And the presentation was so critical that day. That's what made the difference. The pole made all the difference. Let's see how I get on. I need to get set up now, and I think I'm going to try a rig with a gram on it. So I've only brought half a dozen rigs, some of my old pole hooks, and I haven't bothered with any. There's no fancy pole rollers, none of that. The pole's got some, I think it's probably a 6 on there. I could probably fish finer, but if I hook something a bit bigger, like a half decent perch or a chub, I've got a little bit of oomph in it to hopefully get them out of the weed. I've got lilies here, and then another broadleaf weed going out. There's certainly there are some perch in this area. I don't know if I'll get those or not. So this fishing's a bit on the fly today. Back then I'd have had rigs set up. Maybe this isn't a very long rig after all. It seems to be. What have we got here? It's a fairly short rig actually. It says I need a longer rig than that. Let's try. I'm going to bear that rig in mind in case I want to go a bit fish a shorter line. Back in my match fishing days, I'd have fished the pole a lot more than I do nowadays, and I can't emphasise how effective it is really. Let's try the old papyrus reed. This one hasn't seen the light of day for a long time. These Milo floats were quite delicate. They're wonderful floats though. This looks a longer ring. Let's see if we can get the thing to come off. Well, I've finally got it sorted. I think it's going to be set too deep. Let's try it with a plummet. It's about 2 foot too deep now. That's not like it. Another 4 inches. Right, we're ready to fish. I suspect I'm going to get some right bits here, little tiny choblets or roach or something. I'm just going to fish about 6 metres to hand. Need to get a bit of shade here. You can get that pole right behind that float, just hold it, and it's very sensitive. Whether there's any fish down there is another matter. In the actual match I was a bit further upstream and it was narrower up there, and I went across on 9 metres and there was a little bush on the far bank and the fish were in the shadow of that bush, and as long as I fished in the shadow I caught roach. It's just dragging on the bottom there. Might have to knock off about 1 inch just to get it right. Just feed in a few maggots. See if that's starting to shade it. You can see the maggots going down. Let's knock off 1 inch. I've got dragonflies here spotting the maggot. They think, well, it is an insect, but they think it's a fly that they can eat, and they're trying to grab it all the time, which does sometimes happen. The conditions are far from ideal. It's very bright. It's quite warming up quite quickly. There was a bit of cloud earlier on. The river's clear. I've not seen a sniff of a fish. There's nothing topping, moving, nothing, not a thing. And I throw the maggots in, none seem to be taken by any fish on the way down. Last year in the summer there were lots of small chub here, but no sign of them at the moment. It's still dragging a bit. Knock off another 3 inches. A tiny, tiny dace. And the first dace's twin brother, well, even smaller one, tiny, tiny little fish. Just feeding half a dozen maggots at a time. I'd hope for something a small roach or a perch. They might turn up. No chublets. Well, double the size of the last one. Which isn't saying a lot. And these are the sort of fish that wouldn't even give you you'd see a little knock on a stick float. They're so small. They're getting a tiny bit bigger. There's something responding down there. Maybe it'll waken up a perch or a roach. Must have had nearly an ounce now, 4 fish. The important thing is this presentation. It's not hard to use. I'm using that's 6.5 meters to hand. Usually when I'm pole fishing I use 6-inch hook lengths, but this one's set up with one of my conventional 22-inch hook lengths. Just a couple of number 11 shot on the hook length. And with the size of these fish, every bit of fineness helps. Don't ask me what the main line is on the rig. It's probably Racing Torching. It's a very old rig. It's interesting out there. There's something bubbling, and we get that on it, and you can't. There's no logic to what it is. Whether it's just gas, fish. First roach of the session, absolutely minuscule. Be nice to catch something a bit bigger. All I'm doing when I'm casting, just swinging it out, hold it back, and then lay it on the water so the olivet's downstream. And then the rig just falls down through. I've got tiny fish rising out there. They are so small. It's untrue. There are very, very small fish close in. Under the lilies, I don't know if they're minnows or dace fry, roach fry. Very, very small. A fast bite then on the drop, not the maggot, but it's very, very slowly coming to life in this swim. Very, very slowly. I think this trickle of maggots is bringing up the fish. And it's possible a little chub or roach or dace, maybe perch or... Yeah, that was on the drop then. It's probably another little dace, yeah. Today's more about just demonstrating. It's pretty simple pole fishing on a river. It's slow. There are plenty of bites, just about. And very simple rig with an olivet and some tiny shot below it. And a float taking about 1¼ grams. Brilliant presentation as a result, despite the wind. I think the important thing is not to try to run before you can walk on the pole on the river. You can do an amazing amount with 5 or 6 metres. Lovely way of hemp and tear fishing if you can find the right venue and swim, catching just over the weed. Hard to find the venues at the moment, but it will work. You can catch them that close. There's certainly no need to suddenly start on 13 metres or whatever and struggle with it. And just watching that float dipping as it goes down. A shoulder little dace. His grandmother's got to be down there somewhere. If it goes quiet, it might be a sign there's a perch or two. There's loads of perch in this area and elsewhere on the stretch. So it'd be nice to see one turn up. They're starting to take on the drop, or as the last bit settles there. Chomped it then on the way down. We're starting to get more fun, more bites. Bites most cast now, but just nothing worth catching. You see as it settles, the float will dip and it's running down that. Gotcha. And the maggot then's absolutely skinned out, so they might not be very big, but they're hungry. You've got to watch the float as it settles. It's sort of bouncing around and bobbing. No, yes, I had the maggot that time. Second roach of the day, double the size of the first, but not very big. The wind at times is quite awkward. It's gusting around. Sometimes it drops completely and feels really hot. But with the pole, you can just steady it, ease it through, do what you like with it. And all the time you've got to watch that float like a hawk. This is playing different. It's got to be a perch. A much better fish then. Thought I had a chance with that one, but it was not to be. I wasn't very keen on hanging around. It's not a big fish, but definitely bigger. First little chub of the day. about 3 ounces. Very slowly the swim is coming alive, just that slow feeding, good presentation. It's interesting, when I'm feeding I can see the maggots disappearing as fish take them below the surface, and that wasn't happening to start with. So there's a few little chublets or dace there, I don't know, but I think this very old float is shipping water, it's papyrus, and I think the varnish is gone. And what I'm going to do, if I can, I've just knackered my rig up. Well, this is all a bit of a cock up. My rig's lost my rig. I can't see the splits in the thing because it's so bright. And I've got a longer rig on now, which is 7 or 8 metres to hand. I think I'm going to have to knock off a bit. I don't know how this float's going to behave. The dace are just under the surface now, which is not where I really want them to be. Could have been set a perch again. On for the hills then. Well, the second one didn't get away. Oh, so close. How about that, eh? Nice perch, about £1. Certainly on probably a number 5 elastic, size 22 fine wire to 0.08, and the thing ran up, got totally weeded up in a weed bed 15 yards upriver. I think I'm about to call it a day. I've had a couple of hours fishing on the pole, fishing 6 metres to hand. I've proved a couple of things. One is the presentation is excellent. I need to sort my rigs out. I need to redo my rigs from scratch, get the length right, put some decent line on them. Some of the rigs say they're long, they're not long. Make sure they're the correct length. Sort out the shotting on the floats, maybe find some better floats or different floats. Certainly I think this is the last one of my Milo papyrus ones. I'm trying to think what it says. 1.5 grams, which is double the weight of the one I've got on there at the moment. They took a lot of shot for their size. They were super floats, but they were very delicate. This one's all battered and knocked about. I've ended up with 22 dace, 2 little tiny chub about 3 ounces, best dace a couple of 3 ounces maybe, 2 little roach, and 1 cracking perch well over £1. Lost another perch, similar sort of size I expect. And I hope you've enjoyed this little session. What I learnt all those years ago, and that was the time when I started to fish the long pole more on the river, because this pole was a sort of revelation compared to the poles that came before. I had a tri-cast Maestro, same length, 11 metres, but it weighed nearly twice as much. I think it weighed about 1200 grams compared to 650. So you can see the difference. This one catches the wind a bit, it's got a sort of weave on it. But there's a repair there. and I've broken the odd joints on it. The tri-cast, I've yet to break the thing after all those years, but it is heavy to use. It's slim, beats the wind, and it's not very stiff. This one's all right, got nice action for river fishing. Until next time, it's goodbye for now.